The Ugly Duckling. A long time ago, there was a mother duck. She lived in a small house by a pond. The sun was shining, and the air smelled fresh. Flowers grew all around the pond, and the trees had many green leaves. Birds sang in the trees. It was a beautiful place. The mother duck had a nest. She sat on the nest to keep her eggs warm. She waited for the eggs to hatch. It was a long wait. She did not leave her nest for many days. She stayed in the warm sun, keeping the eggs safe. One morning, something amazing happened. The first egg began to crack. Peep, peep, the little baby duck came out of the egg. The mother duck was so happy. The little duckling was yellow and small. It looked like a soft ball of sunshine. The mother duck smiled at the new baby. Soon, the other eggs began to crack open too. One by one, little ducklings came out. They were small, yellow, and soft. They looked like the first duckling. The mother duck was so happy. She looked at all of her babies, but there was one big egg left. The mother duck sat on it and waited. The egg cracked very slowly. It was big and hard. Crack! The egg finally broke open. Out came a big gray bird. The mother duck looked at it. The baby bird was different. It was not yellow. It was big and ugly. It was not like the other ducklings. The mother duck was surprised. She loved it, but the other ducklings did not like it. They looked at the baby bird and said, "You are so ugly." The mother duck was sad. She said, "Don't say that. You are all special. This baby is special too." But the other ducklings did not care. They swam away, laughing. They did not want the big gray bird to swim with them. They said, "Go away. You are ugly." The big gray bird felt sad. He wanted to play with them, but they would not let him. He walked away, feeling lonely. The ugly duckling walked to the edge of the pond. He looked at the flowers and the trees. He saw the other birds flying high in the sky. They were beautiful. He wanted to be like them. But he was different. He was big, gray, and ugly. The ugly duckling decided to leave the pond. He walked into the woods. The trees were tall and dark. The air was cool and smelled like wet leaves. The ugly duckling felt cold. He walked for many days. His feet hurt. He was tired and hungry. The trees had no food. He did not know where to go. One day, the ugly duckling came to a small farm. There were chickens in the yard. They saw him and said, "What are you doing here? You are too ugly. Go away." The ugly duckling felt so sad. He didn't say anything. He just walked away. The ugly duckling walked into the forest again. The wind blew, and the leaves fell from the trees. It was getting colder. Winter was coming. The ugly duckling was cold. He found a small bush to hide under. The snow started to fall. It covered everything. The ugly duckling was very cold. He closed his eyes and wished for spring to come. Winter was long and hard. The ugly duckling stayed under the bush. He was lonely. He felt like no one liked him, but he did not give up. He stayed strong. He waited for the warm weather. One day, the sun came out. The snow began to melt. The ugly duckling saw flowers starting to grow. The trees had small green leaves. It was spring. The ugly duckling felt happy. He stretched his wings. He was not so cold anymore. He decided to go to the pond again. He walked to the water. He looked at his reflection in the water. At first, he didn't know what he saw. The bird in the water looked so different. It was not gray anymore. The ugly duckling had beautiful white feathers. His neck was long and graceful. He had become a swan. The ugly duckling felt so happy. He had changed. He was no longer ugly. He was beautiful. He saw some other swans swimming in the pond. They were white and graceful, just like him. The swans looked at him. They smiled at him. They did not laugh. They welcomed him. The ugly duckling swam with the other swans. He felt so good. He felt like he belonged there. The other swans showed him how to swim better. They showed him how to fly. They flew high in the sky. The ugly duckling tried to fly too. He flew with them. The ugly duckling was so happy. He was no longer lonely. He had a new family. He was now a beautiful swan. He was proud of himself. He learned that it is not important how you look. What matters is who you are inside. From that day on, the swan was no longer sad. He was proud to be a swan. He had found his place in the world. He was happy. He had a family, and he was loved. The ugly duckling learned that it is not good to judge others by how they look. Even though he looked different, he was still special. He didn't feel happy at first, but after time, he grew into something beautiful. He found his true place with the other swans, and they accepted him for who he was. This shows that sometimes we don't see how great we are right away, but with patience and kindness, we can all become something wonderful. Have you ever felt out of place or different, but later discovered something amazing about yourself? What was that moment like? Share your story in the comments. It could inspire someone and change the way they see themselves.